Hi, everybody.
On your injuries, nothing's really new. The 6 guys who have been out the last few days are all out and not playing tonight. So no real update other than that.
You know what I'm going to ask you. We want to know what your reaction was, if any, to what the guy in the White House said yesterday.
Well, Raymond and I were just talking about it, and if we had been thinking earlier, I was going to ride in on a tricycle with one of those beanies with the propeller on it, and just because he called me a little boy, so maybe just ride in and see if you guys got the joke, but we didn't think of it earlier enough. It was really surprising, but mainly just because it was me, you know, and then you stop and you think, well, this is just every day. This is just another day. So I was the shiny object yesterday. There was another one today. There'll be a new one tomorrow, and the circus will go on. So it's just strange, but it happened. I did think about last night. I was thinking about my various visits to the White House. I've lived a privileged life and met, I think, the past 5 presidents prior to President Trump. The first one was in 1984, and Ronald Reagan was president. And he invited my mom and me 6 months after my dad was killed in a terrorist attack. And President Reagan and Vice President Bush invited us into the Oval Office and spent about half an hour with us, thanking us for my dad's service. He was in education, thanking us for my dad's commitment to trying to share American values in the Middle East, trying to promote peace in the Middle East. And all I could think of last night was the contrast of what has happened in 35 years. And, there was no regard for, whose side you were on politically, political party, anything like that. It was just you were an American, and the office held such dignity and respect, both from the people who were visiting and especially from the people who sat inside it. And it's just sad that it's come crashing down and that we are now living this. And I realized the horse was out of the barn a long time ago on this, but for me personally, this was my experience with, wow, has the office sunken low. And so my hope is that we can find a mature unifier from either party to sit in that chair and try to restore some dignity to the Oval Office again. And I think it'll happen. Anyone want to talk about pick and roll coverage tonight?
Maybe not.
Where were you when you heard this happening? Did you see it live, or
No.
did someone tell you? And what was your initial response when you either saw it or when someone told you that this had happened?
Yeah, I just finished media after practice, and I was doing an interview for a project somebody was working on in the building, and then Raymond texted me, and all of a sudden my phone started blowing up. So it was surreal. It was very, very strange. But as I said, it's he quickly moved on to his next bullying victim today. I'm not sure who it was. I haven't had a chance to look, but the pattern will continue.
So, Steve, how have you found it difficult to balance the NBA's clear business interests in China with what's been going on there, with they're really trying to censor a colleague of yours, Daryl Morey, really some stuff that could be called un-American in terms of trying to restrict his freedom of expression?
It is a absolutely tricky situation for all of us to be in. I've been to China, twice in the last 2 years, once with the Warriors, once with Team USA, and basketball is wildly popular over there. And so from my perspective, the NBA is doing a lot of great things in terms of helping to unify people in the world. The game itself is a unifier, and I think that's important. And all of a sudden, that is meeting these political forces and business forces, and we are sort of thrust in the middle of it. And frankly, we don't really know what to make of it. And so we're here. We're being asked about it. I have done a lot of research the last few days. I've learned more about what's going on both sides. One of the things I've learned is that this story has many vantage points, depending on where you're looking from. And so for me to sit here and say, I feel really comfortable making this statement, it's not my place. And it's, just like I wouldn't make any comments on the tariff war. Like, I don't know anything about that, so what's going on in our country, I'm very comfortable talking about what's going on in our country. I'm a citizen of this country. It's hard for me to make a comment about something that impacts so many people, different countries, different governments, and not really feeling comfortable being in the midst of it. I think it makes more sense to lay low and be a scared little boy.
Given that you're currently trying to learn more about it before your name was involved in the whole situation, but understanding that there could be ramifications for the league and here, what's the next steps? Are you still going to be trying to learn more and monitor the situation? Or?
I think the next step for us is, maybe learning from the league. And we haven't really been told anything as far as we haven't been given any orders or, don't talk. We haven't, I think it's more just, it's kind of out there. And, obviously teams are over there, players are over there, NBA personnel over there. And it's all a very fluid situation. And again, I go back to the core value of international basketball, which I just experienced for 6 weeks in the summer with Team USA, which is growing the game and connecting people and using the game as a force for the greater good. I think those things are important. Those values are important. Obviously, there are tremendous financial forces at play here, too. So how you reconcile all that, I don't know.
Steve, you guys, both you and the players the last few years have been very outspoken on topics you feel passionately about. Will the backlash that has been felt through this China situation and the president's comments, will that stop you at all from being outspoken about the same issues over time or give you pause about what you may say publicly?
No, I think generally my feeling is the things I'm going to comment on are things I feel very comfortable speaking about, things I feel well-versed about. I comment a lot about gun safety. It's a cause that is very near and dear to my heart and very crucial for our future as a country. We face mass shootings literally every day. And so I'm involved with 4 or 5 different gun safety groups. That's my pet cause. I'm going to comment on that. That's my right, and that's why I love being an American. That's why I love my country. I'm able to channel my energy and my resources to places where I want it to go. And I feel really comfortable with that. But there are places where I don't feel so comfortable, and this would be one of them.
Just want to follow up quickly on that. Do you understand why people might be upset, though? Because the organization has made it a point, and you made it a point, to stand up for what you believe in and speak out on it. And then on this issue, or on various other issues, guys don't want to take that kind of stand. Do you understand why people would be frustrated with that?
Yeah, so the same people who are asking me to stick to sports are also asking me to expand my horizons. I guess that's what I'm hearing. So again, I will speak on the things that I'm comfortable with, and I will do things that I believe are helpful for my country. I love my country, despite what President Trump said yesterday. I work really, really hard on a lot of things off the floor, and one of those things is I don't want people to feel what my family felt when my father was killed. I know what it feels like to have a family member ended by a bullet. So that's a passionate subject for me. So I research it. I'm involved with various organizations, constantly meeting with people, fundraising. This is part of my life. As far as North Korea, I don't know much about North Korea. As far as the Ukraine situation, I don't really know that much about the Ukraine situation. So we could just go around the world if you want, and maybe I'll pinpoint a couple other ones that I feel comfortable about. But this whole thing is so ridiculous. We're fortunate in this country to have free speech. I exercise that, but part of having free speech is also electing not to speak if you don't feel comfortable about something.
Understanding that you don't want to comment on something outside the United States, are you broadly supportive of NBA officials' ability to do so? I guess specifically, do you believe that Daryl Morey shouldn't be fired over something like this?
I appreciate the fact that you have to ask me that question. I get it, and I would hope that you appreciate my right to not answer that question, because all it does is create a headline and a soundbite, and I choose not to be a soundbite tonight. Probably too late for that anyway. But I choose not to be that soundbite.
To continue our geopolitical discussion here, in all the years that you've gone to China and the teams have gone to China, has it ever come up that the NBA's business interests in China are at odds with a country whose human rights record is not in step with the United States?
It has not come up in terms of people asking me about it, people discussing it. No. Nor has our record of human rights abuses come up either. Things that our country needs to look at and resolve, that hasn't come up either. So none of us are perfect, and we all have different issues that we have to get to. And saying that is my right as an American. Doesn't mean that I hate my country. It means I want to address things, right? But people in China didn't ask me about, people owning AR-15s and mowing each other down in a mall. I wasn't asked that question. So we can play this game all we want and go all over the map, and, there's this issue and that issue. And the world is a complex place, and there's more gray than black and white. I realize that what's popular these days is to make it black and white, and you're either good or you're evil. And so that's convenient to do things that way, but not realistic. We're going to ice the pick and roll on the side, and we may switch back out to Towns.
Steve, just one last thing. Do you have any comment on the Dodgers last night?
Wow, that sounded like a shot. Tough day for me. The president goes at me and my Dodgers lose. I will say this. If you happen to see the postgame, Dave Roberts and Clayton Kershaw, pure class, to lose and to address the fans and the media and accept responsibility and to answer every question. It's not easy, and that was classy. And but yeah, it's a tough loss.